Here's what it looks like to me. It looks like their spells. Alex has 2 Kira, where Rick has 1 Kira, 1 Umezawa's Jit. When it comes to their lands, they have the exact same land count. So this is a 59 card main deck mirror.
The sideboard, 2 energy flux for 2 energy flux, 2 spell pierce for 2 spell pierce, 2 jit for 1 jit.
Okay, so sideboard-wise, it looks like they are almost exactly the same sideboard as well.
Yep.
Alex has 1 Sower of Temptation and 2 Umezawa's Jit, and it looks like Rick Chong has 2 Tormod's Crypts and 1 Umezawa's Jit in that position. So what we're basically
Pretty
talking
cool.
about here is, what is that, 1, 2, 3 cards, 72 out of 75, with 1 card being in the main deck for Rick Chong, and that's in the sideboard for Alex Bertoncini.
Yeah. So this should be a mirror match.
This is a mirror. And
An almost exact mirror.
I mean, were I Rick, unless I viewed myself as deeply experienced with this matchup, I would already know what Alex is playing, even if I hadn't talked to him today.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure he got this list from, like, this is...
I just would not be excited to be playing against Alex, even if I felt really good about my own skills with Merfolk.
Yeah.
Opening with an island.
Alex leads off with an island. Does not have a vial on turn 1. Neither does Rick. Pass the turn back to Alex. Rick's on turn 2. Pondering his options.
Both these players are
He'll
currently
go with
5
a
now.
Curse Catcher. He'll play another land and he'll pass. I think he... It's interesting that he played the Curse Catcher there. I wonder what's actually in his hand.
Curse Catcher versus Coralhelm Commander. Gets dazed.
Now Alex
Swing.
is going to attack for 1. Then Alex can play a 2-drop.
A non-Lord of Atlantis trued up at this point. Says go.
Ooh. Okay.
I would imagine a handful of Marrow Reejeries and Merfolk Sovereigns. Maybe a Kira, perhaps. Lord of Atlantis.
Sure. It's good.
Curse Catcher. Also resolves.
Alex is going to...
Reejerey, I'm believing. Marrow Reejerey it is. Attacks for 2.
Nope,
with
3.
Island Walk. Or 3, thank you.
Yep.
With Island Walk. Oh yeah, I can't block. There's a Lord of Atlantis in play. Alex pointing to Rick Chong's Lord of Atlantis to point out how that works.
Suddenly things are pretty dangerous for Rick.
He's facing down 6 power of Island Walkers. One of the things I talked to with Alex about this in the past, because I was really interested in playing Merfolk at Grand Prix Columbus, and I didn't end up going there, is the interactions with Lord of Atlantis in the mirror, and what you do about Lord of Atlantis, like how you play it. And one of the things Alex said was, very carefully. And now Lord of Atlantis does not have Island Walk. Importantly now, the rare Mirror Reejerey dies after combat because it is now not big enough to survive the damage it took.
Very true. I'm surprised Alex blocked.
I am too. I think that he might have... His Reejerey got through so easily. He might have another one. Or Sovereign, you know.
Yeah.
In for 2.
Yeah.
The Mutavault
down
could
to
block that
14.
if he chose, but losing the land might not be very fun.
Is that a Wasteland that Alex has there? The alternate art card?
It is. It is a Wasteland.
Okay.
14.
Curse Catcher facing off against Curse Catcher and Merfolk Sovereign. Down comes a Merfolk Sovereign from the other side. So now we've got mirror on the board. 3 islands, Merfolk Sovereign, and a Curse Catcher on both sides. And to that, Rick Chong adds a Mutavault.
Yeah,
Alex plays a second Merfolk Sovereign, now making his team a team of 3/3s.
I believe Alex has a Force of Will in his hand. I'm not sure if he has a blue card to go with it. If not, then he probably has a land, so he can play the 5th land for Force backup next turn. Rick has another Mutavault. And attack for free with that.
Yeah, playing my list, huh? I'm sorry?
Plays a Mishra's Factory and passes the turn.
Good stuff. Did you?
Yeah.
Now, Alex is probably just going to bash. It's, huh.
Three, 2, 5.
Text going down to 5. Pass the turn back.
Silly,
It's a violent play.
Silly me. Oh, I'm stupid. I borrow one of these later.
Now,
Woo, boy, am I stupid.
Rick's still got pretty much full grip here. Both players have a good deal of cards.
Against the best of the best, sir. Watch out.
The Vial is a pretty poor draw for Alex.
Yeah, I was going to say
there,
that Vial is coming to the party really late. You still put it out there unless you want to use it as a bluff bait, because you can get some value out of it in a couple of turns, which the game may last. If something were to happen, like a Lawan were to mystically come into Rick Chong's hand from the sideboard, then those Merfolk Sovereigns wouldn't be making the game so rough at this point for Rick. We got a Silvergill Adept cast the hard way. And that's that.
And that'll do it, yeah.
You should have known I had it.
The days is good enough. Alex looking happy again.
So stupid.
What it must be like to be Alex's mood. The roller coaster ride.
Look at that. A little chuckle. I'm not sure he still has it, but he's been walking around most of the day with a flower. That
Yeah. Last round he destroyed it.
he
because
destroyed
lost,
the flower?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Now, post board, they both have Lawan. They both only have 2 copies of Lawan, so it's kind of a race to draw it in many ways. The Jit is very powerful post board for both of these players, so Sower of Temptation.
A card
Alex's
like
deck is slightly better post board, but
by 1 card.
By 1 card.
By 1 card. And I think Rick's deck was slightly better game 1.
Yes, by 1 card.
By 1 card. Now-
I'd say whoever wins or whoever gets to play first is certainly the advantaged player in
Yeah.
this game. Their decks are going to be just about identical.
What do you do about your sideboarding here? I would probably go take out 1 Spell Pierce, take out 2 Kira, and find room for 1 more card to go away for 2 Jit, 2 Lawan, and then you still need a Sower, so there's still 2 more cards that should go.
Huh. It's a good question what I would cut. I might cut some number of Lord of Atlantis. It's really only useful as like an overrun effect. Now,
So one of the things I think that's actually really relevant to this game is going first typically is one of those things where getting the Aether Vial in play outside of the range of a daze can make a huge difference. Whereas, as we saw happen in the previous match, where it was Cephalid Breakfast versus Wizards, when that Aether Vial got into play, suddenly the ability of the other blue deck to interact just kind of fell apart. That's like one of, I think, the biggest elements of this match on one valence. The other valence being who's got the Lords.
yeah. I've always thought of this match as like a Lord fight. And Sower is huge in a Lord fight because it takes a Lord.
Yeah.
You go -1, I go +1, so it's +2 Lords basically in a Lord fight.
With the Aether Vial as a means of fighting the Lord fight, it's getting your Lords past the dazes and forcibles of the opponent.
22 more to go, dude. Yeah, lots of traveling. So you just went a week in each city.
Both of these players sitting at undefeated.
And now,
How many
no, these players are actually X and 1 right now. These players are playing Merfolk. It's one of the most well-established decks in the format.
Absolutely.
It's reasonable to assume that the top 8 will have, some representation of Merfolk. Regardless of how well the Merfolk and Goblin decks do, people don't seem to pick up Lavamancers as often as they really should.
This is one of the reasons I really liked Ben Weinberg's version of Counterbalance that he's been playing with Grim Lavamancers in a control deck in the main. Just respecting the ability of a deck like Merfolk to put down a clock that is just monstrous. We've got 216 people here, so if that's 8 rounds, one of these people winning, that would allow them to go draw and get in.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. These people are X and 1.
Oh, they're X and 1?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was misinformed then. I'm sorry about that.
Like Alex's signature smiley face. When he won the last game, he makes a smiley face. I have had the joy of playing against Alex a few times. I played against him at Grand Prix Toronto, and I've played against him a bunch in my local PTQ scene.
Sorry, what? Yeah. We don't always travel together because we all have different accommodations, different people to stay with, but we don't get hotels for the week. That'd be too expensive. We usually try and find people in the area. There's about 10 of us that go to couch warriors. Signing couch to crash. What?
Okay. A smiling-faced Alex Bertoncini.
Closet.
Shuffle, 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 shuffle.
What? Sleeping bag? Actual like a hiker going.
Now,
Let's try again. See what happens this
going
second
down to
time
6
around.
cards. There are a few different things that can happen when somebody's leaning back in their chair like that. Leaning back in general is a sign of strength. But in some senses, sometimes when your opponent's down a game and you see them leaning back and they start perhaps looking away, doing things like that, if they're looking away from the table and trying to just not pay attention to you, that often means that they're particularly strong. But if they're distant in a way that seems though they've literally lost interest, it means that they've resigned themselves to a loss. So
One of the
it's
things
important to make those distinctions.
One of the things about tells is that if you can't read too much into it against a player that knows about tells, because then they can just play it against you.
Yeah.
Now we have Rick Chong opening up with the turn 1 Curse Catcher, and Alex Bertoncini coming back with the turn 1 Aether Vial. Second island, I believe, there for Rick Chong as well.
Ooh, Rick has a Jit for turn 2. Let's see if Alex has the days in hand. He may even want to go ahead and force this if he has it. Yeah. So Alex will drop down to 18 from that force.
And
Put
the
a
curse
counter on
catcher
that,
gets
vial.
gets the Umezawa's Jit into play.
And Alex plays a Jit of his own to kill the Jit.
Jit v Jit, the old legend rule wouldn't have let him play it, but it's been about 12 years, I think, since that's the case. These days, they just crash into each other and break each other up.
Yeah. The new legend rules are
much better.
Definitely excellent.
Much better. I don't miss those days when it was the other way around. And now we have a Silvergill Adept revealing a Lord of Atlantis. Gets a draw.
Now, Lord of Atlantis is one of those cards that, like I said before, I feel like it's more of an overrun type effect when you're looking at the mirror match than it is like an actual, board state.
That was Alex's contention, essentially, that you can't try to play the Lord except for as this is the final big turn, because it can too easily get away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord itself can't really attack for any real value.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't give itself the island walk, so when you play the Lord, you're putting yourself at a pretty big disadvantage. Ooh, Rick plays a Lawan, and that's about as good as cards get in this mirror match.
Then, to be fair, Aether Vial will slowly let him push through that. And there it is. We've got a leveled to level 4 Coral Helm Commander. Is that correct?
Now,
and here's a Lord of Atlantis pushing for the end game. Rick attacks for 3 Island Walk. Wastelands Mutavault. Lays an Aether Vial. The Aether Vial being a very tepid card at this point for Rick.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Rick has kind of just taken over the game. He's developed very well. He has a Lord in play, even if it is a Lord for Alex's creatures. It's going to allow his Lawan and his Silvergill Adept to attack through anything Alex has. And with the life advantage he has and the board presence advantage he has, along with the Lawin, it's going to be very difficult for Alex to get back into this game, even with the Vial.
I'm not sure if I agree with you, because his Coral Helm Commander is dealing 5. His opponent can come back for 6. And yes, that means that's a 3-turn clock right now for Alex. He doesn't attack because he doesn't want to have the Lord of Atlantis come in, which kind of says to me that he does not have a reasonable creature that he can activate the Vial with.
Yeah. Because even if he has the creature, he has to dodge Rick having a creature also. Otherwise, Rick does it in 2 turns.
Into play comes Silvergill Adept. Draws him a card. Now remember, Lawan is not a merfolk, so Lawan is effectively held back. And now, the way I look at it, I see that it's 5, 8, 9 damage that Alex can attack with Island Walk, compared to, on the other side of the table, only 3 Island Walk damage that can be attacked with via Rick Chong. Here comes...
I'm surprised Rick's only getting in there with the Adept.
What else is he going to go in with?
Well, the turn before, I mean...
With what? Like, he can't attack with the Lord of Atlantis without losing it. The Lawan also gets crashed into the Coral Helm Commander.
Isn't Lawan island walking?
No.
Oh, it is Cephalid?
It's a Cephalid.
Oh, that was my mistake.
Everybody comes in. Okay, now it's the time to think. Does he actually want to kill the Lord? That's a real question.
Yeah.
He can actually also trade with Lawan here. He decides to go for the Lord of Atlantis. Now, his Silver Gallade survives the initial combat with the Lord, and then once the Lord goes away, dies.
Yes.
And this
Well,
does...
no, it's a 2-1.
No, he's got his Coral Helm Commander.
Oh, the Coral
so,
Commander's
yeah.
leveled up too.
Yeah. The math with Merfolk is really hinky.
Yeah. It's hard to see also on the screen, so you end up with these confusing combat situations.
And he's at a position where... Does he have a Mutavault or anything like that at all, or no? I mean, I'm talking about Rick Chong. Is it all islands?
I believe he has all islands right now.
Okay.
He's wastelanded some Mutavaults, but he hasn't actually.
$10 draft number 3 going up to the main event stage, please.
Alex Bertoncini marking his Coral Helm Commander, making it clear that it's a 4.
I like these little gems he has to denote that.
And there's a Mutavault. Alex puts his Aether Vial to 4. It can now make a Sower or a Lawan of his own.
I think
That's
Sower is pretty good here.
Doctor.
Yeah, I mean...
Meanwhile, on the other side of the table, is that Aether Vial? What's the count on that Aether Vial right now for Rick Chong?
I believe it's on 3. Just getting in
4.
with
He's
his
got
Coral
4
Helm Commander.
counters on that. Oh, no, pardon me. No, incorrect?
Now, Alex's Coral Helm Commander gets Force of Willed by Rick.
Right. Wait a second. How does Alex's
2-1.
Coral Helm Commander get Force of Will by Rick with a Lawan in play? How does Alex's Coral Helm Commander get Force of Will by Rick when he has a Lawan right now?
It's only creatures.
Oh, blue creature spells. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not so good.
It's not just the cold you. Imagine that card would be.
Sorry,
that card would be played
everybody.
in literally every deck
Yes.
ever. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, literally that card would be in every sideboard. That card would be in every main deck. I would play that card in every main deck.
Actually, Blue Painter would be a good deck here.
I would Worldly Tutor for that card, and Living Wish for that card, and Eldamri's Call for that card.
I confused
man.
myself there. You got confused on the Cephalid at first, and I came back.
Lawin, Cephalid Empress. Confusing.
Only because it's been a while since I've played Merfolk with a sideboard. It's lots of Game 1 Merfolks on my end.
Yeah, the Merfolk Mirror is surprisingly not something we've covered much, and not something that comes up often in testing either, for me anyway.
Well, I think oftentimes that for people, but they want to test against Merfolk. They don't want to test Merfolk v Merfolk. And here we go. We've got the attack Sower. We've got Coral Helm Commander at level 4. And thinking about Lawan, and pulling back. Okay,
Now,
it's just the Sower now.
Okay. That seems to make a little more sense. He's playing a very safe game here. He's playing around Vial dropping something into play, and then Rick having another Lord for his own turn.
And both fly. Now it's just the Coral Helm Commander coming in for 4.
5/5.
This does threaten a kill for the next turn.
Yep. And attacking with the Sower would not, so it seems like it's just better to attack with this guy. If Rick does have some big play, he can always
And Rick just scoops it up.
Yeah, Rick packs it in, and Alex is now undefeated at 6-0.
Right. Or no, 5-1. Remember?
Oh, 5-1.
Yeah,
You're
5
right.
and 1. So we have